Morals in the money. I want money over fame. Gotta stay independent. I ain't trying to be no.
What's good, y'all? It's the Copper Color King, man. We going live on the Minister Information's platform, man. This is the first live stream hosted by yours truly, man. The Copper Color King, man. We back with another banger. Another banger, man. For those who remember who I am exactly, man, I was on the Good Brothers platform not too long ago. You know, I made a appearance maybe twice on this Good Brothers platform. And on this platform, we spoke about a lot of informative things. You know, some of the things that we spoke about, I've even retained a lot of that information and brought it over to my channel, right? I brought it over to my channel and I incorporated a lot of it amongst my own research, right? Amongst my own research. But hold on, y'all. Let me see something. Amongst my own research, I incorporated a lot of that information amongst my own research. Yeah, man, Wagwan, brethren, get your pen and pad ready, man, because we about to go through a lot right now. It's a lot of informative information within this episode right here, within this segment. It's 2 hours long. I got it over here on my YouTube channel, the Morals and Money platform. Make sure you guys go and subscribe, man. It's a platform basically created for all content creators, man. We got podcasters, historians, we got financial experts. We got so much, man. We got so much, but like I said, I want you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope y'all enjoy this one, man. Just tap in, click that notification bell, man. Let's get to it.
My own masters like P, no NBA. Copper Color King, cooler in my overworld. Got my morals and my money, looking for my over girl. It's always getting better. She want diamonds and pearls. I might take her to brunch, but she can't be my girl. Easy money. This shit easy money. This shit easy money. Call it life. We call easy money.
Like I said, man, y'all go like, comment, and subscribe to the Morals and Money platform. We breaking the non-stop. What is black? What is black when so many of us of a melanated skin complexion come from many different backgrounds, many different ethnic backgrounds? You got my brother, Minister Information, you know, he come from down south. Yeah, I mean, he come from down south. His family was into masonry. You know, my brother's a Freemason. There's a lot of stuff like that. You know, a lot of our family members have ties to these things, these ancestral things, man. So it's good for us to do the research, go back in time, follow the timelines, get the information, retain the information, and then create our own timeline and tell our own story. No more history. It ain't about his story. It's about our story. Let's continue. Team creation of baseball in the 18th. Definitely going to go off with this one, man. Definitely going to go off with this one. Just waiting to get a little bit more people in this live stream, man. I need at least 15 people in this live stream because all them and the whole purpose of this live stream today, you feel me? The whole purpose of this live stream today, man, make sure y'all, whoever's tapped in on TikTok, come subscribe, Morals and Money platform. We are live talking about the history of lacrosse, baseball, and hockey. But yeah, I'm going to pretty much give y'all the breakdown of where this sport comes from. And I'm going to inform y'all, right? I'm going to keep y'all well informed. Let me tell y'all this right now, right? This just proves how powerful and how strong black people are and how creative we are and how special we are and how important we are to today's society. We created everything. I got videos dropping for y'all of the creators of a lot of stuff, even the minigun. the chainsaw. Black people created those things. And a lot of folks don't know that. And we need to know stuff like this because we need to realize and recognize how powerful and how strong we are. Open up your mother-loving eyes. See, folks, they on TikTok, they be calling me a pretendian and stuff. And I'm going to keep mentioning that because it's like, bro, this is not even about being an Indian, right? It's more so about connecting to my ethnic roots, my background, where I come from, where my family come from. They stomping grounds. But this is really more so about uniting black people from all over the world because we are the progenitors of a lot of these things. Very, very special, very, very powerful people. And I just want to give everybody a shout out, man. All my copper colored folks, the entire community, man. If you wake up in the morning and you do not embrace yourself, then there's a problem. We have a problem. You need to embrace everything about you, every nook, every cranny. When you step outside, when you step out that door, embrace yourself to the fullest. Because these people did. And when I say these people, I mean the southeastern tribes, man. The southeastern tribesmen, the Mississippian peoples. They embraced themselves to the fullest. So much so to the point to where if some of these folks lost in their ball games, they would go to war right after, just for losing. And it's so funny. It made me think about today, like growing up, you see the basketball games, whatever the case may be, football games. When people lose, they want to fight. They want to fight. And you would call it a sore loser. But looking back on it, hereditarily is already instilled in you. That's how people got down. That's how much how much pride they took in being who they were. And it's dangerous too in that same token, because it's like, why would you go off and do stuff like that after taking the L? But it's the pride. You got to understand. Proud people, proud warriors. These proud warriors do not want to lose in anything. But this is why they were also so open and so willing to give, because they had so much pride in what they own. They probably felt like they never could lose it. But yeah, more so, man. Breaking the black barrier, man, is the Copper Color King, man. We back in this bad boy for another banger. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, man. Everybody who's tuned in or who plans on tuning in, I just want to say I love and I appreciate y'all, because y'all tap in. Y'all show love. Y'all show the channel support. You know what I mean? Y'all part of the journey. This journey right here. And it's my plan to educate people and put people on. Like, yo, a lot of this stuff, a lot of this blood is in your DNA. I already proved it in previous episodes. So we don't need to go there. A lot of us have ancestors from the South. A lot of us. And through that ancestral lineage, that blood is hidden in that passage somewhere, right? You're gonna find a couple people with some type of Indian in their blood. That's why we always hear it that way. But more so though, right? Like I said, I ain't gonna continue to chat for y'all. So I'm gonna show y'all something, man. Just check this out real quick, right? Check this out. I found these pictures on the internet. I love the internet. Why? Because the internet tells us the truth. The internet tells us the truth. What do we have here? This is a picture of Apache women playing stickball. But screw all that, right? You see the lacrosse sticks, right? The quote-unquote lacrosse sticks. That's the lacrosse sticks. The sticks that you see today. A hockey stick, a baseball bat, the lacrosse stick. But check out these varies of different hues. Light-skinned women, dark-skinned women. You know what I mean? These ain't no Africans. These beautiful. And y'all could feel free to chime in, man. Chime in at any point. Give your take on how you feel about this type of stuff. Like, if you knew a lot of this information already, please chime in. Drop a comment. Let's touch bases. Let's get a conversation started in the comment section. Because at the end of the day, it's each one teach one on this side. I love to learn just as much as I like to teach, as I like to educate. So chime in, man. Drop a comment. And for the most part, too, like I said, they'll tell you, right? that there was no black people who were supposedly like Indian or Aboriginal or Aborigine or whatever the case may be, right? If there was no black people, what would you call those women on the far left and on the far right? As far as I'm concerned, if you look at them today, you would assume that they're black, right? Especially here in America. Maybe in the Caribbean islands, South America is different, you know. But here in America, you would assume that they're black. And anyone with those shades in between. Thus, this is why we here breaking the black barrier. Because truth is, that black blood is the same as that Aboriginal blood. You see, black is the term that just divides us and separates us from that connection or from even understanding that information in the first place. Let's continue. Beautiful copper-colored women right here. And this ain't to disassociate or anything, right? But this is just to keep it a buck. I mean, proud of who they were. Proud. You could tell they in that picture like, what up? This right here. This is the championship photo. This is the championship photo. This is the picture that these people took after they finished busting some ass in stickball. Real spill. This the deals. Ill will. We gonna keep it real. Check this out. Ball rackets. Shiny ball, a shiny ball, and a stick. Right? This is why I say that all sports go in conjunction, right? Because you could take this same stick, right? And that ball, pause, use it as a baseball and a baseball bat, a hockey and a hockey stick and a hockey puck, a golf ball and a golf, whatever that's called. People use for golf. I don't really know. Right? And then the ball rackets, you already know folks and them use that in lacrosse. But then it's also like playing polo. Right? All of these different sports combined into one when you look at it today. And there's all different forms of entertainment. All of these are different forms of entertainment when you look at it today from today's perspective. But back then, this was the grounds of which these sports were built on. You could just tell all these different similarities and all of these different comparisons that still are similar. We can make with these 2-3 specific tools right here. And another one. Check out this picture. Oh, let's go back. Now, this is a graphic. This is a drawing that I found. And basically in this drawing, you can see they basically playing lacrosse. Basically. But then in that same token, you take that ball, pause, and put it on the floor. What they playing? Hockey. It's hockey. And then in that same token, you take this ball, and then you take the rod, remove the net, throw the ball at the rod, and what you got? Baseball. Baseball. And this is special. Well, I'm going to show y'all why this is special, because like I said, they say a lot of these sports were introduced in the 1800s. The only one they give credit to Native Americans is lacrosse. And I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to put y'all on to some fire. For those who are tuned in, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. TikTok is busting right now. We need to get these YouTube numbers up, man, because the chat not even active, man. Let's get this chat active, man. I know it's a lot of people who probably know some stuff about some stuff, man. Come to the platform, subscribe. Yeah, I mean, let's go crazy, bro. Let's go crazy. We turning up. But yeah, check this out. Now check this copper-colored man out right here with his stick rod. Proud stickball player. He's a proud stickball player. When these people are taking these photos, it's like the picture that players take now when they're starting lineup. I mean, they take those photos. They proud. They're proud to partake in their sport. These were proud athletes at that time, so to say. Extremely, extremely, extremely proud athletes. Right. Now, I want to introduce something else to y'all, right? Let's just take another step forward. Let's take another step forward. Before we move any deeper into this story that I got for y'all today, I just want to narrow these things down real quick so that we understand or we overstand, right? Let me show y'all. Check this out. All right, so over the week, I did the due diligence of researching the history of baseball. You know, the year they say that baseball was created, as we see, 1839. Inventing is different. Inventing is like saying they created this entire sport. Like, he was the one who stamped baseball, which is weird and it's awkward to me, because it's like, I'm reading actively right now in one of my history books about the folks who was really playing sports that we could consider baseball, lacrosse, or hockey, but they call it stickball. A stick and a ball, same thing. Baseball, a stick and a ball. Hockey, a stick and a puck. Lacrosse, a stick and a ball. Same thing. And argue with me if you want. You could do that all you want. Oh no, it's 3 different sports. You would sound stupid, because if it was, they would call it something else other than stick. Would have 3 different names. No, it's called stickball, because they're using the 2 objective objects to play the sport. Stickball, right? So let's continue. So Major Abner Doubleday is credited with inventing baseball in Cooperstown, New York. That's in 1839. So 1839, we got the invention of baseball, the alleged invention of baseball, right? And then in 1845, we got Alexander Joy Cartwright developing the rules of baseball. So may I say this, right? Around this time, we still in slavery. We still slaves. As a matter of fact, slavery is at its peak as far as the enslavement of black people. And I mean, because we know that term is just another misnomer. It's another exonym that was denounced on people of color, black. We wasn't always classified by black. If we want to go back another 100 years, they was calling us colored, or Negroes, or mulattoes, or in the Caribbean islands, shall I say, mezzitos, or black Caribs, like mad different terms. They was giving us wild different terms, and not all of them, shalom, brother, meant the same thing. You hear what I'm saying? So yeah, like I said, around this time we are still slaves. So you know, it's people like this already ruling and dominating the entire United States, with the exception of those free colored people who had some power, because we know it was a specific point in time where free colored folks had a lot of power, specifically too in the South. A lot of people don't know that, right? And then we got 1846. The first official game of baseball is played between the Knickerbockers and a group of cricket players. Now, I just want to point something out, right? Let's just take a look at cricket. What is cricket? Cricket is basically another form of baseball, but they just using a different type of rod to hit the ball, right? This rod would still be considered a stick. And this is why I said these sports are built off the same ideology. The same ideology. They're having them play cricket players. Why not just have them play baseball players? The sport is evolving. The idea, shall I say, is evolving. And as it transitioned from our hands, it transitions into their hands. Over in Europe, they were playing cricket. And as more colonizers came into the United States of America, they took the ideology we had for the game and then termed it baseball. They coined it baseball. And while we were all enslaved and round up and being knocked off and lynched and whatever the case may be, they was out there in these fields having a blast playing our game. A game created by us, copper colored people. You feel me? Look, 2 different names though. You could call cricket lacrosse too. Lacrosse might as well be cricket. It's just the stick has a net, right? But then in that same token, you still got baseball. And then I wouldn't be surprised if you could play hockey with a cricket stick, right? It's built the same way. It's just not the exact same shape. But the point I'm trying to get to is that it's still a stick. It's a stick and a ball or object that's being slapped around, right? It's being slapped around. Pause. Hey, yo. Right? So let's fast forward a little bit, right? In 1864, we have the first women's baseball team, and it's started by a group from Vassar College. Why is this important? Well, I just showed y'all a picture of these proud Aboriginal women playing stickball, right? I just showed y'all a picture. This picture, when I found it, was good, y'all. What's good, y'all? It's the Copper Color King, man. We tuning in, man. We here on the Minister of Information's platform, man, just delivering some good information to y'all. I like to introduce myself formally, man. I'm a young black man from the Bronx. Won't even say black, man. I go by Copper Color King, and it's a reason for that. I did some information I found out throughout my family lineage that I have a lot of Aborigine ancestral blood. So throughout that learning process, I did a lot of deep digging myself, and I did a lot of research myself, and I'm trying to bring a lot of stuff to light. So I appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Continue to tune in, to continue to give it a listen, comment, let me know how you feel about this one. If you already knew about stuff like this, like I said, feel free to drop a comment. We can have a conversation in the comment section. Let's really talk about it, man. History of lacrosse, baseball, and hockey, man. It's finna get real interesting, man. So continue to tune in. We got about an hour and 30 minutes left for some straight fire. I appreciate y'all. Let's do it. Dated probably, I would say, 100 years before the first women's actual baseball game, which proves that people was playing it before women, the first European women, shall I say, even started playing baseball. According to these documents here, according to the documents that I got here, right? Let me go back for y'all. According to these documents, they was playing it 100. I'm not even gonna say 100. From when I saw it, probably like about 40 years before 1866, right? What else we got? And then we got Candy Cummins throws the first curveball in baseball. So this is when the sport is starting to evolve, right? The sport is starting to evolve. Teams are being developed. Look, how many people you see up here, right? These are all European white men. Not one black or Indian person on this pamphlet right here, right? Not one. Not paying no type of homage to the true creators of the sport. But guess what? Look, let's check this out. So I went and also did the due diligence of researching the indigenous sorry, let me rewind. I researched the history behind what they call North American, Native American stickball. And I don't even want to call it Native American stickball because we was playing it before them. Indians and Native Americans, two different people, two entirely different people. We can't stand on the same core values. We two different folks. We come from two different areas, two different backgrounds. I mean, we may have merged together, due to intermixing and stuff, to survive, but it's two different people. And it's crazy because I was looking at my mom's the other day and I was like, yeah, Ma, you just a mongoloid. Because I ain't gonna front. She got that Indian in her too, but then she also looked like a Native American, which shows me that somebody down that line got that mongoloid look, that phenotype. But she's her one part of her family is majority Negroid, like the Negroid phenotype, but they are Indians. All right, but that's whole nother story, something that we could talk about maybe in a heart-to-heart conversation when I start bringing those to the live stream. Now, what this says, right? North American stickball is a team sport typically played on an open field where teams of players with 2 sticks each attempt to control and shoot a ball at the opposing team's goal. Hockey, lacrosse, right? Hockey and lacrosse. Outside of baseball, because that baseball is more surrounded around playing, home runs or whatever the case may be. We already see this is hockey and lacrosse in a nutshell. It shares similarities to the game of lacrosse. In Choctaw stickball, opposing teams use handcrafted sticks or kaboka and a woven leather ball or toa, right? Each team tries to advance the ball down the field to the other team's goalpost using only their sticks, never touching or throwing the ball with their hands. Outside of baseball, like I said, we could connect this more to hockey, more than lacrosse, right? But then in that same token, like I said, sports they all have the same origin, one origin. Everything has a migration pattern. Everything, plants, people, food. Yeah, I mean, everything migrates. Things evolve. Animals, humans, it happens, So at some point, these things have to diverge in order to keep people entertained. You get what I'm saying? To create new sports. To claim to be creators of new sports. You can't be the creator if the creators already created what you're trying to recreate. Think about it. Right? Where we at? Points are scored when a player hits the opposing team's goalpost with the ball. Several Native American tribes, right, such as the Cherokees, Chickasaws, Choctaw, Muskogee, Seminole, and Yuchi, play the sport. Primarily the majority of the Southeast. And let's remember, all of these terms, exonyms. There's no such thing as a Choctaw. There's no such thing as a Muskogee. There's no such thing as a Cherokee, and there's no such thing as a Chickasaw. These are all given names. When these people was playing this sport, they weren't even going by Choctaw, Cherokee, or Chickasaw. You know what I mean? This sport goes all the way back to, I'm telling you, to the time they migrated into the Americas. And if you want to learn more, I covered their migration story in previous live streams. Just go check them out. Link is in the description if you want all of these episodes. It's in the description. Yeah, these are all exonyms, names given to these people, right? Because first off, Muskogee is a language, right? And then the Muskogees are Creeks. But the Choctaw and the Chickasaw and the Creek were all one group of people at one point in time. A Cherokee is more primarily up north. They have, I think it's Siouan or Iroquois, one of them. And they went by entirely different names. On top of that, there's two different types of Cherokees. And then the Seminole basically means runaway. Cimarron, maroon, Seminole. It means runaway. That means runaway. So just to give you a breakdown on that. But this ain't even about that. You want sauce on that, then just let me know, man. I'll give y'all more episodes around that. But yeah, the game of lacrosse is a tradition belonging to tribes of the northern United States. See, the game of lacrosse is a tradition belongs to the tribes of the northern United States. So when we go back up and it says it shares similarities, we could just take that out of our brains right now. It doesn't share a similarity. They own the game of lacrosse. Like, they created that. And here goes a picture, another copper colored brother with his stick, baseball or lacrosse stick or hockey stick. You know what I mean? But yeah, it belongs to the northern United States and Canada. Stickball, on the other hand, continues in Oklahoma and parts of the southeastern United States, where the game originated. Same thing, though. It's all the same thing. Although the first recorded writing on the topic of stickball was not until the mid-18th century, right? The first recorded writing was not until the mid-18th century. We're going to get into that. There's evidence that the game had been developed and played hundreds of years before that. Straight up. That's a fact. At least they told the truth about that, right? But they about to get into it a little bit more, and we're going to dive deeper into this overall. But let's see what it says. Traditional stickball games were sometimes major events that could last several days. As many as 100 to 1,000 men from opposing villages or tribes would participate. The games were played in open plains located between the two villages, and the goals could range from 500 yards to several miles apart, thus proving that these people, look, they just sit there and say Indians were lazy, savages. They could say everything in the book. These people were extremely athletic, extremely smart, quick. I mean, like, smart, athletic. What else? Peaceful. What else? United. I mean, revolutionizing. These people were not what we learned we learned them to be, or we were taught that they were. These people were not who we learned them to be. They were much more. And this is why it's important that we get in tune, because I want everybody to search deep. Just go and search deep. Dive deep into your history, your family's history, and try to pull out the truth and try to pull out, the details that allow you to see things from a perception of reality and truth. If you know that your people come from folks who created stuff like this, people pay hundreds of dollars to sit for a lacrosse game or a baseball game. They pay hundreds of dollars or a hockey game. We invented that. So if we knew we even had the power to do stuff like that, just imagine how game-changing that would be for black people. This is the entire point. I'm going to keep it funky. This is the point. Let me not get emotional. I'm about to get in my bag, start crying. Let me let y'all know something, man. I love who I am. I ain't going to never stop. I don't care what anybody say. Never going to stop. We're going to keep giving out free smoke every weekend like it's a 9 to 5. Let's continue, though. Right? Rules for these games were decided on the day before. Generally, there were no out of bounds, and the ball could not be touched with the hands. The goals would be selected as large rocks or trees. In later years, wooden posts were used. Playing time was often from sunup until sundown. The game began with the ball being tossed into the air and two sides rushing to catch it. What is this similar to? Let's just think about basketball. This is why I said most sports have a common root. It's a common root. I just proved it for y'all. What do? They throw the ball up in the air and the two centers jump for the ball. They call it jump ball. Right? But in this scenario, they toss the ball up and the two sides, all members, have to rush to the ball. Right? Because of the large number of players involved, these games generally tended to involve a huge mob of players swarming the ball and slowly moving across the field. Passing the ball was thought of as a trick, and it was seen as cowardly to dodge an opponent. Medicine men acted as coaches, and the women of the tribe were usually limited to serving refreshments to the players and betting on the sidelines. Look at that. So in these societies, in these specific civilizations, they kept their medicine men, the pastors, the priests, basically, and they kept their women on the side. The folks who would be cheerleaders, they were betting and serving refreshments, being the water boys, the water girls. Let's call them water girls. And they said it was cowardly to dodge an opponent. So that means you had to truck your way through. This is why I said they were different. Like they don't tell us enough about this history, man. This is different because in basketball now, you could barely play the game without people calling foul now. They call foul for everything. Everything is a foul. It's not physical no more. But in lacrosse, I will say, the physicality remained somewhat. But ever since dumb tender dick ass people took over the sport, I promise you, it's not even close to as physical as what this was right here. I would play lacrosse like this. Want to know why? Because it's a test of my strength. I really would love to see how strong I am versus 20 other men that's on that field. Because if I'm trucking through 20 other men, that tells me something. I'm pretty sure I could do it now because most of the dudes out here today, hate to say it, and this is a shot at black men. I'm sorry. I love y'all. But y'all got to get y'all weight up, bro. Hit the gym or something. Like eat better, do something, because this is why they got everybody smoked out and drinking and on lean, and people enjoy that stuff and they play a part in it, and they do it every weekend, every day, and they wouldn't be able to last. You would probably die playing a game of stickball with these folks. Niggas it was trucking you. You was getting messed up. Super. I mean, but let's continue. Passing the ball was thought of as a trick, and it was seen as cowardly to dodge an opponent. Medicine men acted as coaches. Oh, yeah, right. We went over that. The historical game played a huge role in the peace kept between tribes who played it. I'll tell y'all this too, right? This is important. Something that's even more important, though, is that after they games, and like I said, they went to war, a lot of them, after the games because they was tight, but often they would smoke the peace pipe. They would smoke the peace pipe right after the game. Puff, puff, pass. Puff, puff, pass. If you seen my video on the peace pipes, shout you out. You're a real one. That means you're really rolling with the movement. They smoke the peace pipe. Just like now, you play a game of basketball with your homeboys. I know. Growing up, we play ball after the game. What we doing? We siphon. We on the benches, or even when you lose and then you call you got next. What you doing in between games? Siphon. Is unhealthy and unethical as athletes, but that's just what we did. That's just how we congregated amongst one another. And a lot of us still kept up. I got friends right now who faster than a lot of, or who could keep up with most athletes, faster than your average high school running back. Big facts. That's big facts. Or your average D1 college running back. As fast as one of them, for sure. Right, but let's continue. The game was not only used as a way to settle disputes and grievances among many tribes, but was also played to toughen young warriors for combat, for recreation, as part of festivals, and for the bets involved. Regular degular. Mad similarities, because we play the games for the same reasons now till this day. In the hood. Often before the game was even played, terms would be set and agreed upon, and the losing team would have no choice but to accept the outcome. If a tribe did not accept the terms of the game, the dispute would often end in battle. Like I told y'all, niggas were sore losers. Right? So let's continue. Although the entire historical timeline of the game is only fragmentary, there have been several documented games throughout history that have not only impacted the tribes, but the nation as a whole. In the mid-17th century, a Jesuit missionary named Jean de Brebeuf was the first to write about the Native American game after witnessing Wyandot people play. What's Wyandot? Oh, Iroquoian. Okay. Even though he condemned the game due to its violence, many English colonists were captivated by it and began playing the game themselves. Huh? What? What did they just say? What did they just say? Big drop. Big drop. These niggas, right, will steal your grandmother's drawers if they could. Promise you. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I mean, I knew this already. Sorry. I knew it already because I already figured it out for myself. But this shit is even on Wikipedia. You cannot make this shit up, bro. You cannot make it up. They will steal your grandmother's drawers if they could. Promise you. Hide your grandmother's underwear. Or tell your grandmother to hide her underwear. Or tell her to... Yo. I ain't even gonna lie, y'all. Y'all can't front. That's a whole fact. Like, these mother lovers is so dirty, right? They'll steal your gym socks right after practice, right? Right after you just finished practicing, right? This for all my football heads, right? It's all for all my football heads, right? Y'all know how stink and how dirty them socks be after running on that turf. After running on that turf, y'all already know. They'll steal those socks. Straight up. They'll steal your socks, your grandmother's drawers. Yo, bro, I'm going to be honest. This is why it's important that we really get in tune with history. Because they stole our history from us. They stole our history from us. So in order to piece these things together and return to a time where we can be great again, hence make America great again, we got to go through the process, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let's continue. To just stop buying underwear because these niggas will come break in your crib, broad daylight, while everybody's home, and steal your grandmother's underwear. Basically, what I'm saying is they will do this shit in front of you, and you won't even notice. Because we didn't notice it. We didn't even stop to question it or nothing. For sports in general. Right? They condemned the game because it was violent. But they got involved. They was captivated. They're like, oh, let's do it. The real circus clowns. The real followers. The circus clowns. And not to say that all English colonists were white. We already know that a lot of them were black. But they still not from over here. And I'm not saying don't pay homage to the black English brethren in them. Because a lot of them didn't come over here as slave owners, you know. Some of them did, some of them didn't. But still, they will steal anything. I guess that's just a European thing, to steal. All they did was steal. That's it. What else they got for us? In 1763, the Ottawa tribe used the game of stickball to gain entrance into Fort Mackinac. Mackinac. The chief of the Ottawas, Chief Pontiac. They even stole the name of the car, the Pontiac car, from a chief. New development, ladies and gentlemen. I told y'all, hide your grandmother's underwear. Invited soldiers from the fort to watch a game in honor of the king's birthday. While the soldiers enjoyed the festivities and entertainment, the Ottawa players moved close enough to rush the fort and massacred them. In 1830, that was smart. You know, this will be you know what? I'm not even going to say nothing. I'm not, because I don't want to incite anything, but I just want y'all to read that, right? Or just listen to what I just read and just think about it. You want to catch somebody slipping? This is the perfect way to do it. The perfect way to do it. In 1834, after the Coonagua Indians demonstrated a game of stickball in Montreal, Canada, many Canadians took interest in the game. Hello. Right, but the game originated in the Southeast. Stickball originated in the Southeast. So who did it really come from? We could say it came from the mound builders. There's always an idea. The game originated with the mound builders. I would never discredit that. Right? But then we could go and say it originated with the Southeastern peoples. You know, the ones who migrated from Mexico. Not these Siberian mother lovers. But here, look, we see it. Canadians took interest in the game. In 1856, William George Beers codified the Aboriginal game into modern lacrosse. Fight me. Big drop. Big drop. Big drop. Wait, my brother, Future Vision. I got something for you. Stay in tune. Stay in tune. We're gonna be going live for the rest of the night. Stay in tune. I got something for you. We're gonna cover the ceremonial peace pipes. I got something for you. Stay in tune. And I just had to disappear for a second. We had to let that one marinate. I had to let that one marinate. Cause do y'all understand what he just said? Or what Wikipedia is saying? Do y'all understand what Wikipedia is saying? Wikipedia is saying that in 1856, no, in 1834, after the Caughnawaga Indians demonstrated a game of stickball in Montreal, Canada, many Canadians took interest in the game. William George Beers codified the Aboriginal game into modern lacrosse. He didn't coin, he didn't create, he codified, he evolved the game into modern lacrosse. So we see it. These niggas are thieves. They will steal your grandmother's underwear. And it's not until the late 20th century that stickball began to see a revival across the southern region of North America. Meanwhile, the game became a street game in northeastern United States. Kids around hitting rocks and stuff with sticks or whatever. That's stickball. That's the average game you'll play on the block. We see it though. They took all of this stuff in the 1800s. So if we look at the history of baseball, right? We go back to the history of baseball. What does it say? They took interest in lacrosse. It's a 5-year difference. Indians took interest in 34. In 1834. So there's some connection there. It's a 5-year difference. 1834 to 1839. They took interest in lacrosse over there in Canada. I was about to say Canada. They took interest in lacrosse over there in Canada in 1834 and then created baseball in 1839. New York is just below Canada. All I'm saying is the ideas come from somewhere, bro. We can't sit here and say that these people created it. We can't sit here and make that an claim. That's just conjecture. That is no longer a fact. We gotta fact check that. That gotta be fact checked. They didn't create it. And then look, where's lacrosse mainly played? In the northeastern region of the United States. Yeah, I mean, they love it. Where I went to school, upstate in Syracuse, these lacrosse girls love that damn sport. And I used to date one. I won't say date. You know me, I'm a dude. I'm Aborigine. We believe in polygamy. Nah, let me stop. I'm wild. You know, I love my women. I love women. Let me just say that. I love women. Yeah, I mean, I love women. I'm gonna just say that. But they love that. These snow bunnies love that damn sport. They love it. And for the most part, I ain't gonna lie, it's fun. I've actually ran back and forth on the field with the stick or whatever just to see what it's like. You know, the stick ain't even all that heavy. You feel me? So to think about it, the Aborigines running full speed, they are not allowed to dodge. Running full speed with that stick, I'm pretty sure wind was getting knocked out of the chest, and it was crazy. But I'm 100% sure it was fun. It was definitely fun. But here, you know, Wikipedia, they give lacrosse, I mean, they give the Aboriginal people, they give them their props, they flowers, but they say it was extensively modified by the European colonists. Definitely, though, they modified it. People won't know this stuff, though. Why? Because it's basically like a, you know, not a copper colored person sport. Copper colored people play lacrosse, but you know, we most known for playing baseball, football, basketball, at least in America. You know, in the Caribbean, soccer, basketball, baseball. I mean, but still, again, even with baseball, right? I mean, even with soccer, you're not using the stick, you're using your feet. And the theme of a ball is still involved. So here we go. All of these sports have a common root. And to even go deeper into it, let's check it out. When was soccer invented? April 9th. That's a goddamn video game. Oh, one of the oldest sports in history, dating back to 206 BC. Okay. Another rabbit hole for me to go down. Definitely would love to go down that one. But when we look at basketball, they give us 1891. Right? Still a theme of a ball. Like all they did was take the idea, right, of putting a ball in the goal and considering that a point. They took that idea and just applied that to different sports. The only one I would say that could go as far as back as the Roman Colosseum would probably be football, a gladiator sport. But then in that same token, it's still the idea of a ball going into a goal. And we now know where that originated, where that comes from. So, right now, to go more into the history of this stickball sport, or this sport that we know as ball game or ball play, right? We're going to go into the history of the Indians, the Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Natchez book. And they're going to talk right here about how these people valued the sport and their relationship with the sport, right? And this is coming from H.B. Cushman, a missionary who spent many years with the Choctaws in the 1700s, 1800s, and who has observed them and who has learned from them in their traditional ways dating as far as back as 1400s, the 1500s, right? But these people came from Mexico, and they came from Mexico around the 1300s. They came into America around that time, right? Let's read, though. Let's check this out. So it says, to the ancient Choctaw warrior and hunter, excitement of some kind was indispensable to relieve the tedium of the nothing to do in which a great part of his life was spent. What they saying right here? Smart people will understand, right? They needed excitement because they had a lot. Sometimes they had nothing to do. He spent a lot of his life doing nothing. Basically, I'm gonna need y'all to pay attention to this part, right? Because it gets extremely interesting, right? They make a lot of correlations to the modern game to their game of stickball, to the modern games of baseball, hockey, lacrosse, so many different ones. Like, I can't even keep counting. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, but this is why getting in tune with the research is always entertaining, because you find out stuff that kind of open your eyes and create that vision, using imagery from just reading what the author is putting on paper alone. You can use imagery and kind of place yourself in these scenarios. My true readers know what I'm talking about right now. Like, when you're reading, you could kind of put yourself in a place when the author is talking. But pay attention, listen to what the man is about to say. We about to go crazy. Let's do it. But that's because they didn't have to. They lived off the land. Why would you do anything? I'm rich just off the land alone. I don't got to go to work. If anything, I got to hunt. What the fuck? Is it my Wi-Fi? My Wi-Fi say I'm good. But hunting is a sport to me as well. So am I really doing something? Right? Hence, the intervals between war and hunting were filled up by various amusements. Ball plays, dances, foot and horse races, trials of strength, and activity in wrestling and jumping, all of which being regulated by rules and regulations of a complicated etiquette. But the Taulic, ball play, was the ultimatum of all games, the sine qua non of all amusement to the Indians of the South, and to which he attached the greatest importance, and in the engagement of which his delight reached its highest perfection, and in the excelling of which his ambition fell not below that of him who contested in the Olympic games of ancient Greece. They made a mention of ancient Greece. Now let's reread that. I like to break things down. We're going to go a little slower. So they said the ball play was the ultimatum of all games. That was a game of all games. This was amusement to the Indians of the South. They loved playing the stick ball. This was it. This was the one for them, right? And in its great importance, in the engagement of which his delight reached its highest perfection, and in the excelling of which his ambition fell not below that of him who contested in the Olympic Games of ancient Greece. Basically, if we take Hercules, right, and put him in ancient Greece, right, in the ancient Olympics, his excitement, right, pumped up, ready to play, ready, hype, can be compared to these Aborigines when it was time to play stickball. They were pumped up, hype, like taking the dirt and like just doing weird stuff. Like they're gonna talk about it in the story, but doing weird stuff to get hyped up, going crazy. But that's because this game right here, they valued this game, the competition within the game so much because, like they said, it instilled the specific kind of discipline that it made the men hungry, war ready. I mean, competitive, and it also brought upon peace. In these instances, we got situations where people are becoming friends for playing a game, and no matter who lost, is bringing and uniting people together. I mean, earlier in this stuff right here, too, earlier in the segment, they spoke about how the Indians of the Southeast were very friendly. You know, they didn't get too crazy when it came to war. Wasn't a lot of war unless they was fighting against the giants, right? These giants, these Hatakapas. But let's continue, right? A Choctaw Tolic 70 years ago. Mind you, this book is written in the 1800s. So 17 years ago would date them back to 1780, probably 1775 from the creation of this book. Was indeed a game that well might have astonished the Titan and diverted them. The Titan, the giants who were in the Southeast, and diverted them, at least from their own past time. But when I look back through the retrospective of years of the long past to that animated scene, and then read in the recent years the different attempts made by many through the journals of the day to describe a genuine Choctaw. Hold up, let me rewind, y'all. I got lost. I sound retarded. But when I look back through the retrospective years of the long past to that animating scene, and then read in recent years the different attempts made by many through the journals of the day to describe a genuine Choctaw ball play of those years ago, it excites a smile and only intensifies the whole memory retains of that indesirable game. Just thinking about watching them play made this man smile. This man was a freaky thug. He was getting hype off watching men play. Sweaty ass Europeans. No one who has not witnessed it can form a just idea of the scene from any description given, for it baffles all of the powers of language and must be seen in any way comprehended. The baseball play of the present day, so popular among the whites, in point of deep interest and wild excitement produced in the spectator, when compared to the Kashapu Tolic of the Choctaws east of the Mississippi River, bears about the same relation. Hey, y'all, real quick. When he said baseball play, what he was saying was baseball. That's baseball. He's talking about baseball. Baseball, right? So these are games these people been playing for hundreds of years. But when you go back in the video, it says that baseball was created in 1836, 1839. How can baseball be created in 1839 when this author just said these people were playing baseball? The game can be compared to the present day game of baseball play. That's baseball. So this is what I'm saying, man. You got to really think about it. You can't let this stuff go over your head. Let's continue. That the light of crescent moon does to the midday light of the mighty orb of day in a cloudless sky. Big freaking drop. Big drop. He's saying that baseball is so much more similar. It's so similar to the Kashpu Tolik that it looked just the same as the nighttime sky and the crescent moon. That blue, they saying that it looks similar. It's similar. It's similar. Baseball popular among the whites. When was baseball? What you mean 1839? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Baseball wasn't created in 1839. Baseball been here for about 500 years before that. So what are you saying? See, this is why I say I be cooking niggas, bro. What are you gonna call me? At least I know. Aha, you clowns. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all think y'all know stuff. Y'all don't know anything. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, you don't know anything. If your history teacher taught it to you, take a seat, bro. Because I'll give you a whole new breakdown that'll blow your mind. What? You learn now that Indians created baseball. Now what? Right? And us as black folks, when I saw this, the only thing I could really think about, right, was the Jackie Robinson. And let's just take a look at it. Well, of course they're gonna bring up Jackie Robinson, right? But yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So this is before 1885. William Edward White, Moses Fleetwood Walker, and Weldie Walker. These are all in the 1800s. Now, this just makes me think, right? Let's just look at these people. Hold up. Let's look at William Edward White. Let me see. He moved to Chicago in 1900. He was classified as a mulatto. He was listed in the 1870 census as a mulatto, right? Like I said, that was a term given to black people once upon a time. But this doesn't mean that he was African, right? This says is a racial classification given to people of mixed African and European ancestry. This just means people of two different hues, two different skin complexions. That's it. Mulatto is a political term. It's not a real term, y'all. Mulatto is not this is a political term. That's just a thing you give to people who are brown. Like this man, he was brown, but he was classified as a mulatto. Shout out to your Choctaw ancestors. My ancestors are so-called Choctaw too. But I'm gonna let you know something. Choctaw, the term, is not a term that was aboriginal to the people that we come from. Choctaw actually comes from one of the brothers. There was two brothers, Choctaw and Chickasaw, and they led the migration of the people from Mexico up into what now is the East Mississippi area and the Louisiana area and whatever the case may be. So our people went by an entirely different name. That's your homework. Do the research on that. We ain't Choctaw. That's a misnomer. It's a exonym, a term given to us. It's not native to us. It's not an endonym. Shout out my good brother, Minister Information. He put me on to that. Let's do it. So this will really make one think. Where was this man's ancestry from? Could he have been black? I mean, could he have been Indian? Excuse me. I mean, looking at his phenotype, there's a possibility. Definitely a mixed man. He was born 1860 in Milner, Georgia. Born in Georgia in 1860. Right after the Emancipation Proclamation, or right before, sorry, or just around that time. So what else we got? They gave us two more. Moses Fleetwood Walker. He was an American professional baseball catcher. Born October 7th, 1856, Mount Pleasant, Ohio. Okay, this is now we talking in terms of Mississippians, right? Cahokia, that area, right? Its population included a large Quaker community and a unique collective of former Virginian slaves. Walker's parents, Moses W. Walker and Caroline O'Hara, were both biracial. According to Walker's biographer, David W. Zhang, his father came to Ohio from Pennsylvania, likely a beneficiary of Quaker patronage, and married O'Hara, who was a native of this state. Oh, all right. When they say native, she's from there, not entirely meaning she's a Native American, but could she have been an indigenous person from Ohio? Is a possibility. I mean, look at the man. Doesn't mean he could be African. He could be the descendant of a copper-colored Quaker man. It's a possibility. These are all possibilities, right? But this is why I decided to, go into this. I wanted to click into this because it's like, okay, it just makes things all the more interesting. It makes things all the more interesting. These were some of the first black men to play the game of baseball, right? What made them so talented at this game, though, is probably because their ancestor is in them, is in their genetics. It's hereditary. And like they said, man, white people favored the sport. When these Europeans saw people playing the sport over here, it was in their best interest to adopt it because it served as a form of entertainment. When there was nothing to do, this gave them something to do. Let's check it out. Let's go look into the last undercover brother, Weldy Walker. They called him an African American straight up. And he's the third African American to play baseball. He was also born in Ohio, 1860. We need to get his biography. His parents, Moses W. Walker and Caroline O'Hara Walker. Whoa. These niggas is brothers. Oh, they brothers. They are brothers. Hold up. Hold up. His father, Moses W. Walker, and these dudes is dull. Son, this is more of a whitewashed photo. It's taken away from how chocolate this man's skin could be. He could be brown, could be dark brown, not light skin. We can obviously see that. But this man right here is dark. For sure. This is a dark man. That's a dark-skinned man. So, when we looked at Moses Fleetwood Walker, it said his parents were biracial. Interesting. Because if his parents were biracial, if Moses Fleetwood Walker's parents were biracial, that would mean that these brothers would be light-skinned, right? Saying biracial is like saying one is white and one is black. And if you live on TikTok, make sure you tap in Morals and Money. The link is in my bio or description in TikTok, whatever. We live right now. The history of lacrosse, baseball, and football. I mean, hockey. Sorry. But yeah, they said his parents was biracial. And when we look at Weldy Walker, this man is dark. He is dark. So what they mean biracial? You would look like Steph Curry. This don't look like Steph Curry. Oh man, y'all need to come to the live stream on YouTube and see who I'm looking at right now. This man don't look like, yeah, you can pull up. Just send a request. This man don't look like a. And at this time, I was live streaming this to TikTok as well. Well, I was live streaming on TikTok and live streaming this to YouTube at the same time. And it really dawned on me, like I'm thinking about it. Most people that you hear about that are biracial usually are extremely light, like Tiger Woods, Steph Curry. And I'm pretty sure there's more that other people can name. That's the only two I can name off the top of my head. And I got some friends who are also biracial that I met when I went to school. And a lot of them were light skinned. So I'm looking at these two undercover brothers and I'm thinking to myself, like, how biracial can they really be? Then it really dawned on me. They really could have had two, their parents could have came from two different backgrounds, maybe one Indian and maybe one of a swarthier Quaker European, you know, and created these two brothers right here who happen to be extremely talented in baseball. Let's continue. Biracial child. Steph Curry. Steph Curry is biracial. Stephen Curry. This man is biracial. This man is biracial. Steph Curry is biracial. I'm gonna show y'all. I want to show TikTok. I'm gonna show y'all because I know I'm not bugging. Right? This is Weldy Walker. That's Weldy Walker, right? And they saying that this man, right? This is his brother, Moses Fleetwood Walker. This is his brother. They saying that this man is biracial, right? Weldy Walker and Moses Fleetwood Walker, they are brothers. They are saying these men are biracial. No, Steph Curry is biracial. This nigga ain't biracial. But they also said his father's a Quaker and his mother was a native in Ohio. That says a lot about the colors of their ancestors, of the people that they come from. Proving that you have black Quakers or colored Quakers coming over here to the Americas, and you had Indians, even as far as in Ohio, copper colored. We got Blackfoots that's copper colored. You got some Sioux that's copper colored. You feel me? This is proof right here. This is proof. This is 100% proof, right? And I'm happy I went and broke this down for myself. Right? The first dude I showed y'all, they said passed it for a white man. He passed as a white man. So he's the real biracial Indian or real biracial person. Right? I get what you're saying. They don't even look like sisters, right? And that's because they biracial. I'm not saying that it happens to every biracial child. What I'm saying is basically most biracial people that you come across are light-skinned. They're light-skinned. Those brothers did not look light-skinned. So somebody gonna have to go and give those pictures some more color just to show us exactly what hue these brothers were. Because if they were darker than me, they cannot be biracial. And that's a whole fact. Yeah, we got somebody coming up in the live, man. He about to join the live. Yeah. Get this nigga the fuck up out of here. Nah, you guys should go, my boy. Get up out of here. But yeah, they saying William Edward White passed as a white man. Right? See, through research by the Society for American Baseball Research, indicates William Edward White was the first African American baseball player in the major leagues. Walker, unlike White, who passed as a white man and identified as such, think about that. Now, if the light-skinned dude passed as a white man, wouldn't he be the one to be classified as having biracial parents if he was still black? They saying he was one of the first black baseball players, right? You're calling him black, but he passed as white. He identified as white, thus probably making him biracial. But Moses Fleetwood Walker and Weldy Walker, farthest thing from biracial. And it's evident. It's evident. This is evident. Proof. It's proof. Right? But let's not distance too far off. Let's go back into it, right? The baseball player of the present day was so popular among the whites. We now know who created it, though. If these folks was as far as Ohio, then we know the mound builders was up there. So could baseball or stickball go that far even in Ohio? The history of stickball go that far, even Ohio? Is it not only the Southeast? Is it the Northeast and Midwest as well? I don't know. Something I would have to do research on. When the warriors of a village, wearied by the monotony of everyday life, desired a change that was truly from one extreme to that of another, they sent a challenge to those of another village of their own tribe, and not infrequently to those of a neighboring tribe, to engage in a grand ball play. If the challenge was accepted, and it was rarely ever declined, a suitable place was selected and prepared by the challengers, and the day agreed upon. So basically, what they're saying is that when they got wearied by their everyday norms of life, hunting, taking care of the kids, tending to the crops, agriculture, stuff like that, when they got tired of that, they often resorted to play stickball. And what they did was they sent a challenger to another village of their own, and not infrequently to another neighboring tribe. That was often to make peace. They did it to engage in a grand ball play. The Hitoka ball ground was selected in some beautiful level plain, easily found in their then beautiful and romantic country. Upon the ground from 300 to 400 yards apart, 2 straight pieces of timber were firmly planted close together in the ground, each about 15 feet in height and from 4 to about 6 inches in width, presenting a front of a door or more. These were called ailubi, ball posts, or bases. I mean, like loaded bases. These are bases. During the intervening time between the day of the challenge and that of the play, great preparations were made on both sides by those who intended to engage therein. With much care and unaffected solemnity, I sound retarded. Solemnity, they went through their preparatory ceremonies. The night preceding the day of the play was spent in painting, with the same care as when preparing for the warpath, dancing with frequent rubbing of both the upper and lower limbs, and taking their sacred medicines. In the meantime, tidings of their approaching play spread on wings of the wind from village to village, and from neighborhood to neighborhood, for miles away. And during the first 2 or 3 days preceding the play, hundreds of Indians, the old, the young, the gay, the grave, of both sexes, in immense concourse, were seen wending their way through the vast forest from every point of the compass towards the ball ground. Now, I just want to stop real quick, right? We learn in history that these people were basically like just savages. Like, they walked around like monkeys, beating their chest and doing like that, and screaming and doing all of that. But just imagine, right? Think about this. I like the way the author added so much death to their entire ball play procedure, because I can almost take myself and put myself in this scenario, hearing it from neighborhood to neighborhood, talking with my friends like, hey, did you hear about the ball game that's about to... Now, I could almost put myself and picture myself in that environment. And I can only imagine how beautiful it was. How beautiful it was to be amongst nature, right? And still be able to enjoy the presence of people uniting like this. Or just gathering like this. Or to see people communicate like this. Like, cell phones took the fun of life away. And I'm going to continue to say that. If it wasn't for me having to do research, I would stay off my phone. I wouldn't have a phone if it wasn't for me having to reach my mom and pops and my sister and my close ones, my business partner, cuz, Bree, people like that. Then I wouldn't even bother with it. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't feel the need to even keep a phone because I would be stuck in the moment. Like, these people, they lived in the moment. They embraced everything about life, and that is so beautiful. That is so freaking beautiful. Right? With their ponies loaded with skins, furs, trinkets, and every other imaginable thing that was part and parcel of the Indian wealth. Go back to my Indian slavery in South Carolina excerpt. Oh, and the ones we got in Louisiana. This book got a lot of drops for me right here, but I told y'all, skins, furs, trinkets, even people themselves, they were considered commodities. These were tokens of wealth. So while these people were over here valuing gold or whatever the case may be, we were living off the land. How beautiful is that, right? Just imagine if you could go out there and get a deer pelt and you're the richest man on the block. I'll be murking every deer in sight. I promise you, I already want to eat one. I want to try deer. And that's going to sound crazy, right? But I'm going to keep it a buck. I ain't get that experience. I'm from New York, right? We grew up on fast food and McDonald's and all of that. I had to stop eating that stuff at a young age because I realized how terrible it was for my body. I would rather eat a deer straight from nature, cook that bad boy myself and all that, and then make a coat out of the. Yeah, we could definitely have a conversation about that experience because I definitely need to try one. That's a fact. Help. Flyest nigga in the wilderness. I can only imagine how fly mother lovers was back then. Stepping out like, yeah, I just got the newest beer pelt. Where you get it from? Oh, nah, I won it in the ball game. Oh, where was the ball game at? Over there in this village. Oh, word? They got more people that got those bear pelts. I want to play for one. Oh yeah, they got. Shout out Louisiana, man. Wild bear pelts over there. But did you see the beaver pelt? Just different stuff. Like, just think about it. The conversation is different. It's different. Something that we wouldn't even be able to get adjusted to, right? But let me continue. On the morning of the appointed day, the players from 75 to 100 on each side, strong and athletic men, straight as arrows and fleet as antelopes, entirely in a nude state, basically naked, excepting a broad piece of cloth around the hips, were heard in the distance advancing toward the plain from opposite sides, making the shit. Somebody put in the comments how to pronounce this word, please, because I'm just not with it. I just need somebody to comment below how to pronounce this word, please. Y'all don't even got the chat active. It's okay. We're going to get it there. Nah, I still have a hard time pronouncing that word. So please, if somebody could drop a comment in the chat and help me pronounce this damn word, I would appreciate it, man. Please help a brother out. Making the heretofore silent forest ring with the exultant songs and defiant humphy banter as imitations of the great feats of strength and endurance, fleetness and activity they would display before the eyes of their admiring friends. The curiosity, anxiety, and excitement now manifested by the vast throng of assembled spectators were manifested on every countenance. Soon the players were dimly seen in the distance through their majestic forests, fitting here and there as spectres among the trees. Anon, they are all in full view, advancing from opposite sides in a steady, uniform trot and in perfect order. And you know what this made me think about? Basically, when like the NBA players or whatever, when they coming out and they running out and the fans is like, you know, and then they start introducing the names and stuff. It made me think about that, like, you know, just a player introduction. This was their introduction. And again, here we have the author going in depth, like using imagery. The way he made use of imagery in this book is mind-blowing. Like it in metaphors, like he's going crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. This author, really that nigga. I ain't gonna front. Because the way he is portraying this stuff, like you can almost imagine it. You can almost draw a picture of it. Real artists would be able to draw a picture of this. If you read this to them, they'll draw a picture of it. They could do that. All right, but let's continue. Where we stopped at. In uniform trot and in perfect order, as if to engage in deadly hand-to-hand conflict. Now they meet and intermingle in one confused and disorderly mass interchanging friendly salutations, dancing and jumping in the wildest manner, while intermingling with an artillery of wild shakalopolichi that echoed far back from the solitudes of the surrounding woods. Then came a sudden hush, a silence deep, as if all nature had made a pause, the prophetic calm before the bursting storm. See? Imagery. Yo, this author's a beast. His use of imagery is out this world. The calm before the bursting storm. Metaphors, again. During this brief interval, the betting was going on and the stakes being put up. The articles bet were all placed promiscuously in one place, often forming a vast conglomeration of things too numerous to mention. And the winning side took the pow. This being completed, the players took their places, each furnished with 2 capucha ball sticks. The baseball bat is called a capucha. A lacrosse stick is called a capucha. A hockey stick is called a capucha. 3 feet long and made of tough hickory wood, thoroughly seasoned. Right? Again, let's check something out, right? What wood is a baseball bat made of? And if this mother lover say hickory, if it say hickory, different types of wood for baseball bats are used to manufacture them, including ash, maple, hickory, ash, birch, bamboo, etc. Their pros and cons. Bamboo, maple, and hickory are the hardest of them, out of which hickory is considered the strongest and extremely durable. It does not break easy. So these niggas was playing with indestructible hockey pucks. They was playing with indestructible hockey pucks. Basically, it's made of hickory. It was made of hickory. I heard that before. I heard people or baseball bats being made with hickory, or baseball players playing with hickory wood baseball bats and stuff like that. Here we go again. It has a source. It has a source. Can I get an I mean? It has a source. Come on, TikTok. Let's bring this over to YouTube. Let's do it. At one end of each capucha, a very ingenious device in shape and size, very similar to that of the hand half closed, was constructed of sinews and wild animals, in which they caught and threw the damn ball. What? Half hand? What do you? Come on now. But you telling me it was invented in 1839? Impossible. Fucking possible. You can't get me. You know I'm the gingerbread man. Yo, nah, I really walked this shit down. I walk it down. I got to give myself a pat on the back for this one, because how you going to tell me baseball was created in 1839, but dating back to the 1300s, the tribes of the Southeast, before they even had the names we know them of today, were playing stickball with capuchas and ingenious devices in shape and size very similar to that of the hand half closed. They used it to catch and throw the ball. A baseball glove. It's a baseball glove. Right? If I'm lying, I'm dying. If I'm lying, I'm dying. It was truly astonishing with what ease and certainty they would catch the flying ball in the cups of the sticks. In an amazing distance and accuracy, they will hurl it in the air, going back to lacrosse. And taking their places at the opening of the play, 10 or 20, according to the number of players engaged of each side, were stationed at each pole. To illustrate, I will say 10 of the A party and 10 of the B party were placed at pole C, and 10 of the B party and 10 of the A party was placed at pole D. The 10 of the B party who were stationed at the pole C were called Falomolichi. Falomolichi. Throwbacks. And the 10 at the A and 10 of the A party also stationed at pole C were called Hatak Fabusa. Polemen. All right. Hatak means man. Let's think about it like that. And Fabusa means pole. Pause. And the 10 of the A party stationed at pole D were called Fala Molichi. And the 10 of the B party stationed at the pole D, Hatak Fabusa. So these basically, like they said, were pole men. And these guys are basically the throwbacks. Falo Molichi was the throwbacks and Hatak Fabusa was pole men. The business of the Falo Molichi at each pole was to prevent, if possible, the ball thrown by the opposite party from striking the pole C and throw it back towards the pole D to their own party, while that of the Hatak Fabusa at pole C was to prevent this. It's just like hockey, right? You got to stop them from hitting the hockey puck into the goal. And lacrosse is the same thing. These are the rules of the sport. Those are the rules of the sport. Right, but let's continue. Rugby too. Rugby is definitely one of those sports. Rugby is one of those sports. That's why I say all of these sports have a common relation, they all come from one place. Just like everything else. Everything else has a migration pattern, just like sports. They all come from one centered source. So when they was developing the ideas for these sports that we have in the world that we see today, you got to ask yourself that question. What was the source? What was the source if these people were playing stickball all the way back to 500 BC? Let's just say 500 BC. And some of the timelines that we've seen. Think about it. In the center, between the two poles, were also stationed the same number of each party, as were stationed at the poles, called middlemen, with whom was a chief medicine man, whose business was to throw the ball straight up into the air as the signal for the play to commence. The remaining players were scattered promiscuously along the line between the poles and over different portions of the playground. Yo, this is tough though, because I just did a video about the Caribs, cannibals, and giants or whatever, and the name they gave to Caribs, or basically people who were cannibals, was Hatakapas, and it was called man-eater. So looking at this term Hatak Fabusa, that's called polemen. It taught me that the term Hatak overall just means man in the Muskogean dialect. Hatak means man. You see, you learn something new every day. All things being ready, the ball suddenly shot up into the air from the vigorous arm of the medicine man, and the wash-oha began. The wash-oha began. The moment the ball was seen in the air, the players of both sides, except the Falamuchi and the Hatak Fabusa, who remained at their posts, rushed to the spot. Polemen, throwbacks, where the ball would likely fall, with a fearful shock. Now began to exhibit a scene of wild grandeur that beguiled all description, as there were no rules and regulations governing the manner of playing, nor any act considered unfair. Each, of course, acted under the impulse of the moment, regardless of the consequences. They threw down and ran over each other in the wild excitement and reckless chase after the ball, just like hockey, stopping nor heeding the broken limbs and bruised heads or even broken neck of a fallen player. This was like a fight to the death. Talk about gladiator sports. Rome ain't got shit on this. This is real. Like a herd of stampeded buffaloes upon the western plains, they ran against and over each other, or anything else, man or beast. They ran over a beast. They ran over a beast that stood in their way, and thus in wild confusion and crazed excitement, they scrambled and tumbled, each player straining every nerve and muscle to its utmost tension, to get the ball or to prevent his opponent who held it firmly grasped between the cups of his trusty kabucha. They was tearing ACLs, breaking legs, breaking necks, busting heads open, all of this right here, just because they were bored, or just because they got tired of planting and farming and hunting and being dads and moms. This is how they had fun, right? So think about this, right? If this is where the entertainment lies for most sports, right? Nah, no funny shit though. Like, as I'm reading this and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yo, really? Like, you got to think about it. Like, it do sound fun. I ain't gonna lie, it do sound fun. It do sound fun. It remind me of the older days, just being out there playing football in the grass and playing basketball, full court basketball. We just playing ball. We having fun. You know, the rules is different when you playing in the street versus organized sports. But you love playing in the street. For everybody that grew up playing sports in the street, you know how it feels. You know that feeling. And as we get older, it gives us that nostalgic how do you describe it? It's a nostalgic feeling, you know, when you sit there and you stare, you walking down your old block, you see the basketball court, you get the memories from them old times and stuff. It's fun. You can see why these people enjoyed it. It was fun. When you're playing football or you're playing these sports, yeah, when people score, it's exciting, but the thrill, the tension that builds up when they're trying to score is what people really pay to see. This is the same stuff they exploit our people off of now. They exploit us off of our own creation. And this is why control is extremely important. Control. Control and ownership is extremely important. Because just imagine, right, if this was still something that we controlled, right? It wasn't something that was broadcasted or people used for forms of entertainment like it was a circus, right? Imagine if we just kept it this way, but made it less violent or less harmful. We can still instill that discipline into the young men, and then at that same time keep our traditions. You know, a lot of people be fat and lazy. People don't even hustle like this no more. As a person who actively goes to the gym now, I can tell you, like, gym should be packed. Gym should be bigger. Because there's a lot of people who need to go. We wouldn't be able to keep up. This was survival. If somebody invaded this America, they wouldn't survive. They wouldn't survive. The only reason why they took it over is because we let them. We damn near gave it to them. Because they wouldn't have survived. They even said it. A lot of these explorers and conquistadors, they said it. They had to run away a lot of times. Like, nah, we can't do with this. We can't deal with them. They really on that time. They on that type of time. That's because they was built for war. Physically and mentally and spiritually. Right? Falamuchi. Throw it back, as others shouted. Holoki. Hokoli. Oh no. Hoklio. Catch. The object of each party was to throw the ball against the two upright pieces of timber that stood in the direction of the village to which it belonged, like football, like putting into a goal, as it came whizzing through the air, with the velocity comparatively of a bullet shot from a gun, a player running at an angle to intercept the flying ball, and when near enough, would spring several feet into the air and catch it in the hands of his sticks. So lacrosse or football, you could say either one. Randy mossed him. He mossed him. Randy mossed him. NFL Street jumped off the wall. Randy mossed him. Got it. Give it to me. Need that. He mossed him. That's what that means. He mossed him. Right? But let's continue. but ere he could throw it, though running at full speed, an opponent would hurl him to the ground with a force seemingly sufficient to break every bone in his body and even to destroy life. And as number 2 would wrest the ball from the fallen number 1 and throw it where it had flown 50 feet, number 3 would catch it with his unerring capucha and, not seeing perhaps an opportunity of making an advantageous throw, would start off with the speed of a deer, holding the ball in the cups of his capucha, pursued by every player. Again, football and lacrosse. Football and lacrosse. Right, check this out. This one was funny. Again was presented to the spectators another of those exciting scenes that seldom fall to the lot of one short lifetime to behold, which language fails to depict or an imagination to conceive. He now runs off, perhaps at an acute angle with that of the line of the poles, with seemingly superhuman speed, and now then elevating above his head his capucha in which safely rests the ball, and in defiant exultation shouts, "Humphrey, Humphrey, I dare you," which was acknowledged by his own party with the wild response of approval, but responded to by a bold cry of defiance from the opposite side. So basically, the ops, they was booing him, and his teammates was like, yeah, because he just turned up. This was a move. He just busted a dance move. That was a whole move. That was like a crossover. He hit him with a crossover. And niggas be like, oh. And the ops was like, that was trash. That was trash. That's basically what they saying. See, we could connect. Why? Because it flows through the veins of my blood. Let's continue. Then again, all is hushed and breathless. Silence is only disturbed by the heavy thud of their running feet. For at a short time he continues his straight course, as if to test the speed of his pursuing opponents, then begins to circle towards his pole, instantly comprehending his object. His running friends circle with him, with eyes fixed upon him to secure all advantage given to them by any strategic throw he may make for them, while his opponents are mingled among them to defeat his object. Again he runs in a straight line, then dodges this way and that. Suddenly he hears a cry from someone on his party in the rear of the parallel running throng, who sees an advantage to be gained if the ball was thrown to him. Falamucci, pass the ball, throw it. He now turns and dashes back on the line, and in response to continued cry, Falamucci, he hurls the ball with all his strength. With fearful velocity, it flies through the air and falls near the caller, and in confusion made by the suddenly turning throng, he picks it up at full speed with his capucha and starts towards his pole. Then is heard the cry of his hatak fabusa, and he hurls the ball towards them, and as it falls, they and the throwback station at that pole rush to secure it. And then again, though on a smaller scale, a scene of wild confusion was seen, scuffling, pulling, and pushing and butting, unsurpassed in any game ever engaged in by man. Saying that this right here is so intense, right? The level of intensity far outweighed any other game that was ever played by man up until that point. Any other game, the intensity was at its highest. We brought the pain. The definition of intensity. We did that. That was us. Our people. Right? Let me get some more for y'all, right? Because we're going to start wrapping this up, right? Let's get some more. Okay, so they're going to talk more about the game. I think right here on page... See, they talking about the Choctaw education here. We're going to go on page 190, right? What does it say? Yet they bore their misfortune and with becoming grace and philosophic indifference, and appeared as gay and cheerful as if nothing of importance had occurred. The education of the ancient Choctaw warrior and hunter consisted mainly and frequent of these muscular exercises, which enabled him to endure hunger, thirst, and fatigue. Hence, they often indulged in protracted fastings and frequent foot races, trials of bodily strength, and introductions to the warpath. The chase and their favorite, the toli. Right? They did several things to basically make sure that they was in their top shape. Right? And this all goes back to the men of today. We don't practice any of this. We barely restrain from ourselves sexually. We don't fast. Like, well, y'all don't fast. Yeah, I mean, thirst, fatigue, they can endure these things for long amounts of time, right? Their bodies were built for survival. The reason why they didn't survive is because what they encountered, like I said, they opened up their arms. They should have kept things tight. Right, but look, they also indulged in another game which they took great delight, called the Ut Chupia, in which two players could engage at the same time, but upon the result of which, as in the Toli, they frequently bet their little all. An alley with a hard, smooth surface and about 200 feet long was made upon the ground. The two players took position at the upper end, at which they were to commence the game, each having in his hand a smooth, tapering pole, 8 or 10 feet long, flattened at the ends. A smooth round stone of several inches in circumference was then brought into the arena, and as soon as both were ready, number one took the stone and rolled it with all his strength down the narrow inclined plane of the smooth alley, and after which both instantly started with their utmost speed. Soon number two threw his pole at the rolling stone. Instantly number one threw his at the flying pole of number two, aiming to hit it, and by doing so, change its course from the rolling stone. If number two hits the stone, he counts 1. But if number one prevents it by hitting the pole of the number two, he then counts 1. And he who hits his object the greater number of times in 11 rollings of the stone was the winner. So it was first to 11. They got 1 stone, 2 poles. One person got to hit the stone. The other person got to stop the person from hitting the stone. And whoever, depending on how many stops that person gets in conjunction with how many hits this person gets on the stone, that determines the victor. Just another form of like hockey and lacrosse and baseball. We could continue and so forth and so forth. Right? Judge Julius Folsom of Atoka Indian Territory informed me that a friend of his, Isaac McClure, found an Chupia ball in a mound. This was in a mound near Scullyville, Choctaw Nation Indian Territory, and not knowing what it was, brought it to BIM for information. This proves that the Indians who occupied the territory prior to the Choctaws also indulged in the game of the Ut Chupia, mound builders. Only people that was there prior, the only people, the Washita, the Ushita, the true copper-colored people, Asiatic Negroids, man, I tell y'all, bro, we've been here for thousands of years. They've been playing stickball here in America way before any sport other than what I saw about China and soccer was ever created. So they need to go back into these fouls and do something about this, because this doesn't serve our people enough justice. On top of that, you claim to give us Jackie Robinson as our major spokesperson for the first black person in baseball, but you never told, well, I never learned about the other three. Moses Fleetwood, right? William Edward White, Weldy Walker. I never knew about them. You feel me? I know it's a lot of people who probably did, but I didn't. Right? The following was furnished me by my learned friend H.S. Halbert of Mississippi, a genuine philanthropist and true friend to the North American Indian race. The great ball play and fight on Noxubee, a corruption of the Choctaw word Nakoshubi, a precarily offensive odor between the Creeks and Choctaws. Okay, so the Creeks and Choctaws this is the part where they fought over the game. right? Let's check this out, and we're gonna conclude this one after, because this story right here was funny as hell. At least to me, right? It just shows how serious they took the game, right? It shows how serious we used to get, and it only made me think about the times playing ball. We in the hood with it, you know, we in the Jets, we playing ball, and I might have lost, and I might have, you know what I mean, got like that with one of my, like, you want to fight? Like, it got like that. You feel me? They call it a sore loser. But low key, we been moving like that. It's not good, but we see where it comes from. In the fall of 1836, there died in the southern part of the Noxubee County an aged Indian warrior named Stony Hadjo. This old Indian had resided in the county for years and was very popular with the pioneers, who regarded him as an upright and truthful man. He was a Creek by birth, a Choctaw by adoption. This old warrior would often tell of a great ball play and fight which occurred between the Creeks and Choctaws in Noxubee County. This event, from date given by him, must have occurred about the year 1790. On Noxubee River, there was anciently a large beaver pond, about which the Creeks and Choctaws had a violent dispute. And I'm pretty sure this pond is probably not even there no more, right? The Creeks claimed it by priority of discovery, while the Choctaws asserted their right to it because it lay in their own territory. As the fur trade at Mobile and Pensacola, this is the real name for Pensacola, Alabama, Puscaola, bred people, then small places, but the main points of trade for the southern Indians was lucrative. That's also where they used to trade with some of the Caribbean Indians, right? The big facts. There's no doubt in that. It's where a lot of them often made landfall, right? Was lucrative. Each party was loath to renounce the right to the beavers. The two nations finally agreed to settle the matter by a ball play. A given number of the best players were accordingly selected from each nation, who were to decide by the result of the game to which nation the exclusive right to the beaver pond should belong. Great preparations were made by each party for this important event. They commenced preparing on the new moon, and it took them 2 whole moons until the full of the third to complete preparations. Great quantities of provisions had to be procured, and the ball players had to subject themselves, meanwhile, to the usual requirement of practice. The athletic exercises customary on such occasions. Finally, the day came, and Stony Hadjo said that there were 10,000 Indians, Creeks, and Choctaws, 10,000, goddamn, camped around the ball ground on Noxubee River. The Creek chief, who held the highest command after seeing his people properly encamped, left to pay a visit of ceremony to great chief of the Choctaws, who lived at some distance. Stony Hadjo gave the names of those 2 chiefs, but these names cannot now be recalled. If I mistake not, the Choctaw chief was Him Akubi, now to kill. Everything being now ready to play commenced, and it was admitted on all sides to have been the closest and most evenly matched game ever witnessed by either nation. Fortune vacillated from Creek to Choctaws, and then from Choctaw to Creek. At last, it was a tied game, both parties standing even. One more game remained to be played, which would decide the contest. Then occurred a long and terrible struggle lasting for 4 hours. These niggas played for like 7 hours, bro. 7 hours for that beaver pond, that beaver river. 7 hours. They were dedicated. Every Creek and every Choctaw strained himself to his utmost bent. Finally, after prodigious feats of strength and agility displayed on both sides, fortune at last declared in favor of the Creeks. The Creeks won. The victors immediately began to shout and sing. The Choctaws were greatly humiliated. At length, a high-spirited Choctaw player, unable longer to endure the exultant shouts of the victorious party, made an insulting remark to a Creek player, who in retaliation Choctaw State threw a petticoat on the Choctaw, the greatest insult that can be offered to an Indian. The latter resented it, and the two instantly clutched each other in deadly combat. The contagiousness spread, and a general fight with sticks, knives, guns, tomahawks, and bows and arrows began among the ball players. Crazy, right? This is crazy. This is what? Maybe the early 1800s, late 1700s. Creeks, Choctaws get into a disagreement on who going to take a piece of land. They decide to play a ball game. Choctaws lose, Creek wins. The Creeks win. It results in a fight, right? It results in a fight. But then listen, right? Listen to this. The fight continued from an hour by the sun in the evening, but with little intermission during the night, until 2 hours by the sun the next morning. At this juncture, the great chiefs of the Creeks and Choctaws arrived upon the ground and at once put a stop to the combat. Runners having been dispatched at the beginning of the fight to these two leaders to inform them of the affair. The combatants, upon desisting from the fight, spent the remainder of the day in taking care of the wounded, the women watching over the dead. The next day, the dead were buried, their money, silver ornaments, and other articles of value being deposited with them in their graves. The third day, a council convened. The Creek and the Choctaw chiefs made talks expressing their regrets that their people should have given way to such a wild storm of passion. They should have not given way to such a wild storm of passion, resulting in the death of so many brave warriors. There was no war or cause for the war. They just fought because one was jealous, right? One sore loser between the two nations, and they counseled that all. And this is something that'll really happen on the block. That's why on the side of this part I put these niggas, because they moving like niggas. They moving like black folks. You feel me? This is why it's like, bro, these connections, right? This one alone, right? Even though it's a negative, I'm gonna bring the positives out of it, right? These things that was going on around this time, when you fast forward and you look at it from our perspective, this is the type of stuff you see on the average out there in the hood. So would you say that we are the modern Choctaws and the modern Creeks? That would make sense. That would make the most sense, because we are. We are the Aborigines. We are the true copper-colored people. And that's something that we can't ever forget. That was the purpose of this entire video. The sports that we play today, that we love today, that we cherish today, that we watch on TV in amazement, right? They were created somewhere, right? They have a source. And that source comes from the Aborigines here in America. Forget the unhappy strife. Make peace and be friends as before. This advice was heeded. The peace pipe was smoked, all shook hands, and niggas went home. These niggas. They fought for about 6 hours. Killed each other and all that. Once the big homies pulled up, the leaders of the tribes, niggas chilled out, smoked the peace pipe, and everybody went home. What does that sound like to y'all? That's some nigga shit. That is some nigga shit. Let's tap in. Yo, that's crazy, bro. Like, that's really wild. I'm not even gonna lie. It just sounds all too relatable. White people don't go around doing stuff like this. That's some straight up nigga shit. That's some nigga shit. I ain't gonna lie. We the only type of people to go around doing stuff like that. There's nobody else in America or in this world who I believe will conduct themselves like this other than us. It's mad. It's crazy, right? I ain't gonna lie. It's a sad situation. But it's so crazy how we just connect to our ancestors in many different ways, right? This is why I say stop saying you're black. More importantly, do not make that full assumption that you come from Africa. You cannot make that full assumption and say that you come from Africa. Right? It's an exonym. It's an exonym. Look, what we got? We got flood myths. It's biblical. We got flood myths. Right? Flood. Choctaws interested in the flood story. Oh man, bro. I got fire. Look, what else? What else? We got the customs, ways and customs, how they carry themselves. Like, mad stuff is just all too relatable. A lot of this stuff in this book, sorry y'all, is all too relatable, man. And one of the things that I'm gonna do too, right, is I'm gonna create like a Streamlabs or a StreamYards account, and I'm gonna start streaming to multiple platforms. I want to get this community. I want to grow this community for real. And I work hand in hand with another brother, Minister Information. Let me stream on his platform, whatever the case may be. That's what I'm saving the flood video for. That's what I'm saving the flood video for. But if you are someone who enjoyed this one right here, right? Follow me on TikTok, Copper Color King. Follow me on Instagram, Copper Color King. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's right where we live at. The Morals and Money platform for creators. It's the Breaking the Black Barrier segment created by yours truly, the Copper Color King. I want to appreciate, like I said, I wanted 15 people. We got 10, but I had 230 on TikTok. Thank you, y'all. Thank you. I need all those people too. I'm going to send a blast. I'm going to send all those people over here to YouTube. We really gonna go crazy, bro. Like I said, I need y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay? I love y'all. Copper Color community. I love my Copper Color people. I appreciate y'all. Tap in. Stay in tune for the next one, man. Listen. Hit me on Instagram, Copper Color King. I'll see y'all later. Let's do it.